Bigger talks, another episode, and I'm happy to bring you an expert, researcher, humanitarian. I mean, Tom Paladino, he's an amazing individual, and he's big into scalar energy, scalar light.
Mhm.
I don't know if people listening know what that is, but if you know of Nikola Tesla, energy guy, and he started that, right, Tom?
Yes,
With the
yes.
sun involved. So we're going to talk about all things energy, healing the body, and just new information, new technology, new frequency. Because from doing my research, maybe Tom, you're the next inventor of something that is life changing. Maybe it can get patent and trillions of people, billions of people can use it. Maybe it's something for artificial intelligence. I don't know, but Tom, if you can just give the people listening uh, a little background on yourself, where you come from, and how did you even get into scalar energy, scalar light? What is it all about?
You're right. Scalar energy is the future. It's a new technology. It's Tesla energy. And in the future, we're going to use this technology to change the world. Scalar energy is free energy. So when we're referring to this energy, it's the energy of the sun and the stars. And we're able with this energy to control matter. We're able with scalar energy to power our planet with clean, free energy. That's where we're going with this. It's so promising. It's such a bright future.
So with that being said, a few things came up. One, is that something connected to solar panels that you put on top of like buildings or houses? Is that something similar?
It's quite similar. Solar panels, yes, are collecting sun energy, but they're converting it into electricity, which is an inferior energy. The best energy to convert that sun energy into would be scalar energy for a number of reasons. One of the reasons scalar energy does not degrade and never loses its signal, its intensity. So imagine having energy that never dies or never fades or never loses its signal. That's what scalar energy is. It's perpetual energy. It never loses its signal.
Right. And so it never loses its signal. So is scalar energy something for health benefits, general benefits like water and sunlight? Who needs scalar energy? Why should we have it? And why should people really know about it?
All of the above. Everything we've done with electricity, we can do with scalar energy, but scalar energy would be a much superior way of performing these functions. Scalar energy would be, if you will, clean. It's inexpensive in application. You'll never run out of scalar energy. It's from the sun and the stars. So this is what Nikola Tesla saw. His vision was to give the world free energy. And he was about to do that. He had a tower in Long Island that was giving off free energy. He was able to capture star power or sun power. And this was a wireless transmission of energy, scalar energy. He was this close to giving the world free energy. That way we would never have had to drill for oil or dig for coal. That's archaic. So we're getting to that point where we can revisit his work, and we're going to give the world free energy someday.
And it's interesting you use that terminology. Free energy. He wanted to give the world free energy. But yet our energy is controlled by other frequencies and other energy. Where you talk about the media, you talk about food, you talk about environment, you talk about information, right? Because information is energy. And I think I'm always curious to know, why didn't that happen for him? Why wasn't the world able to get that invention or that introduction to scalar energy? Is it monetary? Is it control?
Sure.
Is it power?
All of the above. Tesla was a humanitarian. He wanted to help mankind. But there were evil forces in his day that saw that this energy, that this technology would take away their position of power and money and influence. So they stopped them. And they conducted a smear campaign against him. One of the greatest inventors of all time, perhaps the greatest. And there was a smear campaign against him. And that's what the media does. The media is controlled by the cabal. The Illuminati controls the media. And it it's a shame that now today we suffer because we did not look at Tesla's advances, his achievement, and we did not incorporate that. So to our if you will, our suffering now is now occasioned from those mistakes in the past. This is to our disadvantage.
So, I'm big into like astrology and numerology, and I know we're in the age of the Aquarius, right? The Aquarian
Yes.
tribe, and it's about the individual, right? And so,
Yes.
what you speaking on scalar energy and helping the world and helping mankind, do you believe this is the time? Because I heard on another podcast, you said maybe 5 or 10 years from now, that scalar light and scalar energy, that the world and the universe and the people here are ready for that invention and ready for the technology that you discovered and brought to the platform. Do you think it's time? You think are we just in the beginning phase, like when crypto came out, I'm thinking, 2003 or 2006, I believe, or years ago? What's your thoughts?
Well, you look at God, I'd say it's God's timeline. I say it's inevitable within the next 10 years. Within the next 10 years, because this movement has momentum. This movement now has awareness. You can call that prayer, consciousness, grassroots effort, call it what you will. You keep in mind, Tesla did not have the internet, and Tesla was ostracized. Now, with the way we have social media, you cannot ostracize this. You cannot, if you will, suppress this anymore. So the people will clamor for this new and promising technology, and there is going to be resistance. There always is, but you can't suppress this anymore. Our day is coming. The next 5 to 10 years, we will see the incorporation of scalar energy around the world. And this is going to be the game changer. This will liberate mankind. Scalar energy is going to liberate the world.
I believe that because like I said, I'm really big into energy and increasing my frequency and vibration. And so the course of my life, being a fitness trainer, being on TV shows and writing books and just studying information, I've come across things like cryotherapy, red light therapy. I also do the beamer treatment. I actually have a biomat here in my apartment that I utilize for my body, and anything to enhance my being, I do. And I also can read energy. I can look at someone and see if they're vibrating and look at their aura. So when you talk about scalar energy, where in the world, what does that look like in the world that's normal? Like, how is it placed in the world we live in? Yeah. Like, it's like cryotherapy is a chamber where people go and freeze their body for 2 minutes. The red light therapy, you get under something in the red light. Like, where does scalar light fit in? And visually, what does that look like in a normal space for people to utilize?
That's a wonderful question. So within the next 5 to 10 years, we will be able to work with people around the world with this technology. And the beauty about this is it is a wireless transmission of energy. So you can deliver this energy. I am presently delivering it by way of a person's photograph. I place photographs of people inside my instrument, and I can deliver energy to a person's photograph. Well, if you can do that with a person, then eventually you can do that with a home. You'll be able to deliver energy to a home by way of a photograph of that home. So consider what I'm saying. If we can deliver free energy right now to a person's photograph, eventually we'll be able to deliver free energy to a home or a school or a factory.
And so when you say deliver energy, in what context is that deliverance coming? Is it like you take a photo and this person can be somewhere 10,000 miles away and you can send them energy?
Correct.
Interesting. Look at that. Aha moment.
Yeah, that's the continuum. So to put this into perspective for the audience, in the electromagnetic spectrum, we have 2 points. Let's say the West Coast and the East Coast, California, New York. And there's a distance, right? That's obvious. But in a scalar energy environment, California and New York are already pre-connected. There's no distance. So in the scalar energy realm, you transcend time and space. So there is no distance. So it's instantaneous action.
Interesting, because I'm thinking I'm a very highly spiritual person, and I'm an empath. I can feel energy, so I can feel what someone's going through. I'm in Los Angeles, that's in Baltimore, my hometown.
Right.
So then I think like, okay, I know I energetically, spiritually can feel that. And I'm, dialed into my, my super conscious, my God, like energy that, I'm gifted. What is when we're calling someone, is that, I can't say it's scalar energy, but what is that? What is being transfused, or what is being connected for the call to happen from one country to another, or one state? Like, how is that vibration? I don't even know how does that even happen. We just can call a person and they're on the other side of the world.
It's not a vibration. See, with electromagnetic energy, you deliver with a frequency. Right?
Yeah.
That delivers the waveform, so to speak. There is no frequency in scalar. Everything is already, it's quantum entangled. Everything is already.
It's already certain. It's already is. It's like love. Like
exactly.
It just is. Like you can't put it in there's no here or there. It's here. It's like it is it. Interesting. So
exactly.
Wow. So I'm thinking if that's the case, so what if you have an old photo of someone and they're not in the best energy in that photo? Does it still pick up on the data of that person's aura layer? Like how do they compute that? Like how does that work? If you get a photo of me if I'm 11 years old and I'm happy, but then you see me at 28 and I'm sad, even though the energy is certain, does anything change from
what I've experienced in scalar, everything is in the present moment. So in this dimension, your photograph always reports your constitution in the present moment. So your photograph could be 15 years old. It still is a report card. It's your bilocated version at the present moment. You've heard of some people being able to bilocate, meaning being in two places at once. That's only possible in a scalar energy dimension, because in an electromagnetic dimension, you're one person. But in this other dimension, scalar energy, you can be bilocate, you can trilocate, you can multilocate. Meaning what? We have energetic copies. In a scalar energy environment, we can bilocate. That's why a photograph represents a person's bilocated version. I never ask people to come to my laboratory. I don't want that. I want their bilocated version. So a photograph is the bilocation principle. People can be in two places at once.
Wow. So I love this. I believe in this because I was telling a friend one day, they had a photo of an artist. I said, that energy of that person is in your home now, right? It's like, what do you mean? I was like, you have their entity, you have that vibration of who they are in your place. So whatever comes off that photo and that frequency is going to be in your space. And it's like, wow, I didn't think of it like that. It's deep. So to take it deeper, are you able, with the scalar light and the scalar energy, pick up? And this might not be the right question, but I'm curious. Someone who's passed, right? Like who died years ago. Right. Are you able to kind of scalar that energy of that photo and pick up what their energy is doing? Yes. Because their spirit is still going, right? The body is decay. Are you able to pick up? Because I know people who can kind of connect with the dead and kind of tap into people's spirits. And
yes, to answer your question, yes, because I believe everybody has a soul, a spirit, and that soul is eternal, and it's always with you. So you can always connect with a person by way of their photograph. Even if they're deceased, a photograph would still constitute their spiritual state.
So if we're computing that, if we're getting that energy, because you said it's information, what happens with the light? Now, like I'm very visual, so I'm picturing, okay, if I had a photo of the younger me, okay, boom, I hit it. If the light hits it, does information come up, like what's going on, how this person is talking, or like what comes out after that to make you give the information?
Let's take a look at my photograph, because I only work with photographs. My photograph has incorporated on it energy patterns, signatures. So my photograph is the report card for my soul, mind, and body. So my spiritual state, my mental state, my physical state is always incorporated in a real-time fashion on my photograph. So my photograph tells me my state of soul, mind, and body. To me, that is so fascinating. Because all information is light. Light is perfect. Light is a first principle. So when you're working with light energy, you never make mistakes. I always use that phrase. Light never makes a mistake. It does not. It's fundamental.
Wow, spirit just jumped. Wow, that's powerful.
Light never makes a mistake. So when we're working with fundamental energy, light, okay, it never makes a mistake. So it's a dependable energy. So you can depend upon scalar energy reporting what your soul, mind, and body are like. There is no human interpretation. Light is from God. It's fundamental. Light never makes a mistake. Light is perfect information.
And so with that perfect information that is light, that comes from your picture, what is that information given back to the person who goes through that trial? Like, is it healing their body? Is it telling them they need to like be more in alignment with their soul purpose?
Yes.
Or like what information do they get to kind of like be one with Scalar?
I believe when I'm placing a person's photograph inside my instrument, it's a divine connection. It's divine light. Light is from God. And God will correct the soul, mind, and body. And do that on this bilocated version. So you can see we're in the metaphysical realm now. This is non-physical.
Oh, like an NFT almost, right?
Yes.
But you're picking up on the data. So are the people that's coming to use your product, are they like in pain? Do they need healing? Are they going through something? Or do they just come and just get lit up? Like, who are your customers? Who's your clientele? Who would need scale? I mean, we all do it from the way you explained before, but in general, if I'm looking at a niche, who would really appreciate scalar energy?
People come to our website because of the free trial. They're intrigued, so they want to try our free trial. I would say half of them have a medical condition, but I never diagnose because this is a new science. You can't diagnose, so to speak, a person's medical condition on a photograph. So what am I getting at? I treat everybody the same by way of their photograph. It's a standardized session. And then I would say most people, if they had pain, they see a reduction in pain. Now, can we explain that? Well, it's a multifaceted question, and it's a multifaceted answer. But on balance, most people who come to us, they might have some pain or discomfort. I would say the greater majority, over 50%, feel better after our free sessions. So there's merit to this. I have so many people, they provide us testimonies. And those testimonies, they speak to the efficacy of these sessions. Exactly what is this science? We're still learning. But the greater majority of people, the body of evidence is in favor of this. Most people feel better after submitting their photograph to us.
Interesting. And so, because I would say some people would say, oh, because, placebo effect.
Right.
They don't believe it. The information doesn't make sense. What is it? Cognitive dissonance. I think that's the terminology. They're so locked into their paradigm that they don't believe it makes sense. But when I hear you speak, it reminds me of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Yes. When he does his seminars and people get healed and they don't have these illnesses and disease in the body. Right. I think of love, right? Love is so certain in a way where you can't really put it in a box, right? Yeah. Or the energy we're breathing or the air we're breathing, can't even see it, but exists. So for you, in the next few years or in this moment, what is the intentions? And are you into are you guys looking for funding? Like, how do you mass produce products? Like, where is your timeline as far as the product and the information for people to benefit?
To be very realistic about this, and I think we're both wise and prudent enough to realize you have to choose your friends in this role. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to keep this grassroots, and that way, many corrupt governments and many corrupt businesses will not touch this. Okay. So I'm going to make that general statement. I'm not saying every government's corrupt, but I'm saying there are many corrupt governments and many corrupt systems, businesses,
Yeah.
they're not going to touch this. We're going to keep this grassroots. So it's going to be all through people, through the grassroots network, and it will grow, if you will, by that ground up approach. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop it then. We don't have to rely upon funding from them. We don't have to, so to speak, make a marriage between government and Scalar, or big business and Scalar. That will be our downfall. So where are we going with this? It's all grassroots. Thank you for this opportunity. The people will demand this. Once they realize what we have, they'll demand. So education is the key for the next 2 to 3 years.
And that's so valuable and important, because I love that approach, because that's so not only real and authentic, but that is evolution. It's like you don't need funding and you don't need people to hop on to something that's going to forever evolve, because it's so innate, it's so natural. It's like if a kid every year it ages, eventually it has to grow. It has to have some type of life experience. So with time and evolution, things catch up to the matter for it to make sense where everybody will need it. And that's an invention. It's so huge, man. I mean, what sparked your interest? Like, how old were you? Like, where did this all start? I feel like you had like a battery. God put a battery in your back. Like, this is your mission. This is your purpose.
He did. But in the 70s, when I was a kid, I was reading about Tesla by way of books. Okay, this is before the computer. And every book that I read on Tesla, I said, this guy's genius. I said, why aren't we getting this? I understood what he was doing. I was 11 years old. I said, where is everybody else? Anyway, I vowed to make some impact by way of Tesla's technology. And I think I'm doing that today. So it's been a lifelong mission. I thank God for the wisdom, and I thank people for supporting me. Without people, without this grassroots effort, I would be an obscure researcher. You would never see me. I would be stuck in a library. But the fact that people support this, now I can come public with this.
I like it. And so for your past like professions or career, what were you working, or what's your background other than research?
I had to work. I went to school at night, and I worked during the day. I had various jobs. So I had probably had 10 different jobs over the past 40 years, which is fine.
Yeah.
And that's just the way you have to do it. You've got to do this on your free time. Thank God now later in life, I can devote myself to this.
And then, so it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, you're like highly spiritual, right? Like you believe in a divine intelligence, the greater power to be. Was that something that was early for you, or did you tap into it later in life?
That's the reason I'm successful. Without God's help, I could not have done this. This is groundbreaking. Yeah. So where do I get the idea from? How do I start? Yeah. This is from scratch. How do you begin from scratch? Well, you have to be creative. God gives you that knowledge, that creativity, and you just build on it day after day.
And it's interesting, because I always tell people, like, living in Los Angeles and being around nice things and famous people and people having money, I've come to realize that, majority of the people, I would say about 70%, don't have spiritual currency. They don't have their spiritual bank account is not full, right? They don't have that deep connection with higher power. Maybe they do on a linear, level, but when I'm saying deep, meaning like beyond anything they believe, more than what they can see. Therefore, they continue to push ahead, and we live in a world of, we go off what we see and not what we know and feel. And I've always believed he or she who feels it knows it. And I believe intuition is God thoughts. Like you got the epiphany, the intuition, that gut instinct that God transmitted through you for you to help the world have new technology about scalar energy, scalar light. And it's beautiful because you're just so anomaly. You're different, and I love different because it's against the grain, and it's not normal. And that's the only way we can have new creations in the universe, and we can think outside the box, and we can challenge status quo, and we can grow, and we can say, look at it like this. And, you know, what if this happened? If this healed this person, maybe it can heal you. And that's where I believe prayer, right? You can't see it, but when you tap into it consistently, it comes true, you know? Yeah. But some people, it's so much connotation because of religion and, you know, things that they put on it that people don't believe when things don't happen. But it's like, are you praying? Or are you believing because you should? Or are you doing it because you know? And I think scalar energy is a thing of your existence, of your time, that it's not even that you don't believe, you know it. It's a knowing. When you know something versus believing, it's two different things. Like, I believe in scalar energy. No, I know scalar energy is the future. That's a different vibration. That's a different frequency. I have to buy into it. So I just want to say congratulations on all the work. Congratulations on all the time. Congratulations on blood, sweat, and tears. Congratulations on not giving up. Congratulations on showing up. This is a bigger talk. Like, this is groundbreaking. This is grassroots. This is different. It is miracle season, because it's a miracle for someone like you to be in this time, to have a thought, to create something that can change lives energetically without it being so tangible for people to believe it. And I mean, you got me over here thinking like, wow. So you say you don't want to scale, get into, like, you know, systems with the government and, you know, things of that nature. How can the everyday person not only educate themselves and learn about it, what is something they can do to kind of get in tune to this energy and this frequency? You know, I know you have a website, but what else can people do to benefit from this knowledge? Because I think it is next level, and it is the future.
If people want to read Tesla, especially later in his life, if you read his notes carefully, you will understand he was working with scalar energy. He was no longer working with electricity. So he to this day remains one of the few scalar energy masters, one of the scalar energy experts. And I always say this to bring this down to the level that anybody can accept and understand. We are scalar energy beings. Our mind, our heart, the human mind functions on scalar energy. The human heart functions on scalar energy. We all have souls. Our soul is composed of scalar energy. So God has given us his image. That's scalar energy. It's a divine energy, chi, consciousness, call it what you will. Everybody has this gift. So it's not as if you need an instrument. You have a mind, you have a soul, you have the heart. That's there. It's all there. We are scalar energy beings.
Yeah, and then the thing, I took a course in NLP years ago. I know you're probably aware of neuro-linguistic programming. Yes. And I discovered IR, internal representation, right? So when you, as a person, just in general, when they say visualize yourself being successful, or visualize or see yourself at the finish line winning the race, everybody IR, internal representation, is different. But like you said, God gives us the image, right? How is that image placed in every individual differently? Because they're different, they think different, they feel different, they're vibrating at a certain level, a soul level. Maybe their soul is from decades ago, their ancestors. But it's so real to see it in such a way, because everybody's image of something is different. Just like what success might mean to me might be different to you. And I think scalar energy, that is, man, that's like, it's futuristic. It's something that now that we talk more about it, I'm thinking about it in a different way. Like, I have, you know, a photo of me on my book, and I'm thinking like, what if you could put the scalar energy on a book, you know, on my photo, and it picks up all this information for me to understand.
One of my goals in the future is to use scalar energy to give us knowledge. So if scalar energy is intelligence, if it's the light of God, the intelligence of God, instead of learning through rote memorization or learning through repetition, perhaps we can download, perhaps scalar energy could give us that intellect by this download of energy.
Yes, because I think, I don't believe that one size fit all. I don't believe that. I don't believe life is just white and black, right?
Right.
Sometimes when I'm tapped into my higher self and I'm speaking, things are just coming through. Like it's miracle season. That had to be scalar energy. I channeled that. That wasn't something I thought of and I wrote out. It was just coming to me in a moment and I said it. And it became this thing, right? That's now part of my existence. I feel like that was part of that scalar-like energy coming through, and I just trust it and put it out in the universe. Because I would think like thoughts become things, but where do people get these thoughts to create these things? Where does that energy, information, understanding come from for a person to believe it, to do it? But if we have that type of technology where this person knows, okay, scalar energy is telling you, you need to focus on automobiles, that's it. You need to focus on sports, that's it. You need to focus on, culinary or cooking. Then you'll be more in your space of, I feel like more people will have a more niche purpose in life, and everybody wouldn't be trying to do what everybody who looks great does, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. We'll know our lane, but that's...
You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
And the world will be better.
Are in the wrong, a lot of people are visible. They're in the wrong lane.
Right.
Everybody has a gift.
Yes.
I say this frequently. You've heard that Mozart could compose at age 5. Well, that was a gift from God. How do you compose at age 5? He had that gift. God gave him that download of scalar light. And there are different instructions of scalar light. Obviously, God gave Mozart the gift of musical composition at an early age.
Oh, wow. So basically what you're saying, the light from the scalar is enlightening people, is lighting them up. I had a friend tell me, he said, instead of trying to get everybody to get to the light, you just be the light. And the ones who want to follow will follow suit. But maybe this technology, when you get it, it lights you up and you start thinking different, you start doing different, you start feeling different, because light lights you up. It's so like, this is the only thing that can take out darkness is light. So, wow, man, this is, I'm excited because no infomercials, no commercials, no marketing. You tell you didn't have like social media. Is that a reason why, or you just kind of want to keep it under wraps? Or
I do work with social media as the best I can, but I'll make this distinction. Social media, the algorithms are not favorable for what I'm doing. Okay. So somebody in Big Brother got hold of social media, and anytime scalar energy or free energy is mentioned, it won't go anywhere on social media. So we really are a people movement, not so much social media. Even though I use social media, I will say that the algorithms are against me. That's not an accident. Whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, they won't pick up on free energy. Guess why? Because the cabal controls YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And the cabal does not want free energy. So my work is indeed suppressed, even on social media.
Got it. It makes sense. You remind me of David Icke.
I think people are starting to realize that many of these people in business and the media are essentially puppets. It's the people above them. And sadly, they're useful idiots. And I'm not saying that because I have any grudge. That's the proper term. When you're being used, and when you're being abused by this elite, and you don't even know that, it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad, and it's a lot of it. It's been here before we got here, and it's still here, and it's a fight of good and evil. And I'm just happy to connect with someone who wants to make a difference in the world, right? I always see myself, when I was a kid, I want to change the world. And I was like, how do I do that? Well, maybe I can change one person that can help change the world, or change the person who has a big audience, but one person, one step, one day, 1 hour, 1 moment at a time. This is a start to something great. Now, what is your thoughts on AI? Because I keep hearing like that's the real pandemic. That's the real that's coming behind everything.
Everything has to be within bounds, with parameters. Okay, so what are my point? AI, I said this so many times, a traffic light is artificial intelligence. Okay, it's programmed. So are traffic lights good? Yeah. They protect us. Green means go, red means you stop. There's AI with our computers. We have AI with our lawn sprinkler. When we're sleeping at night, our lawns are watered. Okay, so to speak, that's artificial intelligence. Okay, so when you can control and marshal these forces, that's great. But if those forces get out of hand, then instead of you being the master, then those instruments or that technology will master you. And that's what people are worried about. And they should be. They should be.
I had a guy, he was saying like, we're not aware of how much we tell AI what to do. And sometimes if you're on social media and you're scrolling and you're liking a bunch of negative stuff, things you shouldn't, you're teaching AI, that's what you want to see. That's what you want to gravitate to or attract. And then, so we said, we got to start being aware of how we're communicating to the AI, because it'll listen to us.
Sure.
We're not aware, and it probably can take advantage of us.
Yes.
So, Tom, I'm just really thankful for your existence and your presence. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
Man, do you have any kids? You have any, like, what is like, I mean, you're powerful, man.
What do I have in this grassroots movement? People like you who want to change the world.
Yeah.
And I can't emphasize this enough. Sadly, people rely too much on government or business or some type of group. And many times, especially today, that government, that business is corrupt, or there's ulterior motives. And this is why, one of the reasons why we have such problems in government and big business. They're poorly run. They're poorly managed. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
This is not utopia. You know, if our government was really that crackpot, well, why aren't we having a great government run our country? We don't have great leaders. Let's just be blunt.
Yeah.
How about big business? Well, why isn't everybody happy? Properly employed? Why don't we have this distribution of goods and services? Well, we have a corrupt economy. You know, our money system is corrupt. Many governments, many politicians, many political leaders, many business and military leaders are corrupt. Anyway, to get beyond that, this grassroots movement of scalar energy, we're going to learn a lesson, and we're not going to get in bed with government or big business or military or high tech. We're going to keep it with the people, and we will grow exponentially, and we will not have the downfall that government and big business has.
Hey, like they always say, my dad will always say, he says, son, the truth will always come to the light. The scalar light it is. So where can, I know we talked earlier before we got on, you talked about you want to give away 15-minute trial or 15 day?
15 days. So our website is Scalar Light, scalarlight.com. Anybody in the world can email us now your photograph, include your family and your pets.
Yeah.
And for 15 days, we will balance your brain waves and your chakras. We will perform what we call a pathogen cleanse or a microbial cleanse. We'll scan your photograph. We'll look for the viruses, bacteria, and parasites, and eradicate the viruses, bacteria, and parasites from your photograph. And then we'll assemble nutrients. We do all of that by way of information. We're sending you information. And we can do that on the spot, if you will, with scalar energy. It's not electricity. We do that by sending energy into your quantum field with scalar energy, not electricity.
Now, with that procedure, like, is that, and I don't want to say it's the same, but is that kind of like of a higher powerful prayer that you're sending someone? Because that's what I feel.
It's a form of prayer or intuition. We used that term previously, intuition.
Wow.
Yes, it's a connection. You see, this is consciousness. I have a consciousness instrument.
There's it is. Wow. I love, because since I've been a kid, I've been praying. I'm talking about when I was 13, 14, 15, I didn't grow up in the church, wasn't religious, wasn't forced to go into, but I always had a connection with higher power and God, and I always prayed, and everything I prayed for has always come to fruition. And I lean on that no matter what I go through, because that has always been certain for me. It's never failed me. So, man, you got something cooking up. Hey, people, you hear that? This is a consciousness tool, a prayer instrument to get you in alignment with your soul and your purpose and feeling complete and whole again if you don't. And maybe to amplify if you are. Tom, I just want to say thank you, man. This is amazing.
Thank
So you
you.
said that website is scalarlight.com.
Yeah, scalarlight.com, SCALAR, scalarlight.com. Take us up on it. There's no obligation. Email us your photograph. We will prove to you in the quantum realm that this energy can benefit you.
And that's powerful. And then anywhere people can find you other than your website, are you on LinkedIn or?
We are, if you scroll down at the bottom of our website, we have social media sites there. I try and keep it very simple by sending people to the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Well, thanks again, guys. You heard it from the expert, the genius himself. I believe he definitely has godlike energy in his aura, but I also believe he has Nikola Tesla frequency in his consciousness, because he is creating something to not only affect humanity, but to give us a tool to enlighten and fulfill our soul in a beautiful way. And get on the website, scalarlight.com, 15-day trial. I always say, don't knock it till you try it. You never know if you don't know. So try it out. It's another Bigger Talks episode. This one was phenomenal, and trust me, you might have to listen to this again, because this is a lot of deep information that will shift your paradigm for the greater good. That's all. That's it. Everyone have a beautiful, beautiful time, and thank you for listening.